Everyone. Welcome to Pickleball Therapy Live. One half of us are here, and I think the other half will be hopefully joining us shortly. Hey, everybody, I am CJ Johnson. And as I said, I am one half of VI Pickleball. And I come from the YouTube channel Better Pickleball. My other half, my partner in this venture, is from Into Pickle. That's Tony Roy. And hopefully, he will be coming to join us soon because we're going to talk a little pickleball this evening. We got a couple of things on the agenda for you. Want to talk about the mistakes that beginning players make. Tony and I shot this video when he was here, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that, but it's a different take than you have seen before. Also want to talk about the having a coach, and something I realized in my own pickleball game this week, something that was missing in my pickleball game, and talking about the podcast and what's coming up on the podcast that Tony produced. And if he doesn't come, we can't talk podcast, but I've got something else because last week he did a video on tennis to pickleball. So in the meantime, I'm just going to go on here, and I am on Facebook, so I'm going to check the tech, make sure that all is working, and it looks like everything here is working over on Facebook. Hello to everyone on Facebook. Appreciate that. Then I'm going to take a quick stop over to YouTube. Have you been watching? Has anyone been watching the PPA on YouTube today? I watched a little bit of the singles, the men's singles, men's and women's singles. I saw a little bit of the Ben Johns, Zane Navratil, a singles match. And singles is such a different strategy. If you're playing tournaments, if you're a singles player and you're a little confused, it's because the strategy is so different. Very, very different. So, but anyway, it was a great match. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it yet, but I would definitely say go ahead and take a look at it because, yeah, it is pretty interesting. So still trying to find everything over on YouTube. So that was on today. If you're watching that, let me know. There we go. All right. We got a few people. Hello, Terry Kelly. How are you? Hello, Barry Baker. Barry Baker, you are all the way up in Maine. Man, what you doing in Maine? You should be going to Maine in the summer, not this time of year, right? In any event, let's see. Got a couple things. So I don't know if anybody's over on TikTok. If you are, great. If you aren't, I'll kind of give you the short version. I have struggled a bit. Especially I think since the pandemic started, I've struggled a bit finding the joy in pickleball. And I started out, I was one of those players. I started out and I played all the time, and I loved it. And then something changed. I don't know. Can you relate? Because I hear other people talk about it as well. And I wasn't really sure what it was. I still kept playing, but I found myself not playing as often. I found myself making up some excuses when I was asked to play just because I didn't feel like playing. And I knew that was kind of odd as much as I enjoyed it, but something had really changed for me. How I felt about the game had changed. And I didn't realize it until yesterday afternoon. So I went out yesterday afternoon. Tony was visiting about a month ago. We did some camps here in Tahoe, and he was here about 6 weeks ago. And I had been struggling when I was playing. I was struggling with my game. And I said, I really want to make some time while you're here. I want to go out and I want to work a little bit. And I want you to give me some things to focus on. And he did. He gave me some things to focus on. So after he left, I actually left on vacation, and for the first time I was disappointed that I wasn't going to be able to play pickleball on this vacation. I don't know if you can see the shirt. I went to the Ryder Cup, and so I was disappointed. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So since then, I have been back on the courts and I have been practicing. And last night, it finally hit me. It was a beautiful afternoon. We have a huge storm coming, potentially 4 to 6 feet of snow. And so this truly was the calm before the storm. It was mid 50s, a light breeze, and there was no one, not a soul on the 12 pickleball courts for 2.5 or 3 hours. I was out there all by myself hitting some balls, and finally I had to go. I had some things I had to do, so I packed up the ball machine, and that's when it dawned on me what was different, because I was happy. You can tell by my expression. I was happy. I was smiling. I was enjoying myself. I was like, what's different? What has changed? And that's when the realization hit me. I have been a professional athlete since I was in my 20s. I'm a golf professional, a ski professional as well. And one thing that I've never done is figure out myself. I have always relied on a coach, because as a coach, I can see your strengths and your weaknesses. I can't see that in myself. And I do think that's a little bit of human nature. We just don't always see it in ourselves. So in any event, it just dawned on me that I had spent so much time trying to figure out myself. I didn't have a coach that I was relying on. Even though Tony and I had talked a lot of pickleball, I hadn't asked him for coaching. And all of a sudden, that burden was out of my mind. I didn't have to figure it out anymore. I trust him. He told me what I needed to work on, and I just went to work. And that's how I function as an athlete. That's how I do it. Now, if you're not as in love with pickleball as you used to be, this may not be your problem. It may be something else. But what I encourage you to do is to keep exploring it. What's different? What's changed? What's different for you? Because frankly, you owe it to yourself to figure it out. So, let's see. A sunflower says pickleball saved me during the pandemic, and it's all I had, and now I'm addicted. She or he is in Houston, Texas. Yes, pickleball saved a lot of people during the pandemic. By the way, I did want to mention, if you are interested in some coaching, we got some camps coming up. We got some camps. Our camp in Concord is full, but we still have a few openings in Folsom. And so there are a couple of there. And we are about to open up the wait list for our Tampa camps. So if you are not on the wait list, or advanced notice list. It's not really a wait list. We haven't opened up registration except to our VI Pickleball members to this point. So if you are not on the really kind of like the pre-notice list and you'd like to get on there, go to wearepickleball.com/camps. And you can get all the information you need. Click on the button for Tampa, and you can put your name into a wait list. And when we open up registration, which is going to be this Sunday, when we open up registration, you will be notified. So you will be some of the first to get on that list. And also, we'll take any questions that you may have. I am going to pop back over here to Facebook and see if there's any questions coming in on, excuse me. Hello, Stan Brown. Stan's down in the South. Stan, referee extraordinaire. You're not at the PPA, Stan? I thought you might go up to Vegas and be refereeing at the PPA. You can tell us. Maybe you are at the PPA and you're just getting a little bit of a break. What's coming up this week? Oh, I got a YouTube video. In fact, I'm still finishing editing it. It's been in the can for a long time. Tony and I shot a bunch of stuff together when he was here. And this has been in the can for a long time. We were talking specifically about some beginner mistakes that we've been seeing, because as Sunflower said, there's a lot of people who started playing pickleball during the pandemic. So perhaps you've never played open pickleball, rec play pickleball. You might not have been exposed to other players, and you're new to the game. And so these are some of the common mistakes that we see. And even though I've done this, a couple of mistake videos on the YouTube channel, this was something that was really different. Tony and I talked about it. We kicked around a few ideas, and I think these are some pretty unique things. It's things that you see often, but not things that you see talked about very often. So that YouTube video is going to be up on Saturday. So YouTube videos go up at Saturday at about 2:45, not about 2:45. I schedule them for 2:45 in the afternoon. So you will see that over on YouTube. Oh, Stan said he's not at the PPA, that his day job is getting in the way. Stan, you got to retire pretty soon, dude. I mean, isn't it time? And by the way, I am here to answer questions. So if you have some questions that you would like answered, please go ahead and feel free to put those in the chat. Tennis players. Is anybody a tennis player out there? If you are, like, give me a little thumbs up. Or maybe you were a tennis player. Put that in the chat below. I'd like to see, because we have a, that's another thing, that people who came in during the pandemic were tennis players. And frankly, there's a lot of tennis players who come into this sport, really other racket sports, come into the sport of pickleball. But Tony did a video on his channel last Saturday. We alternate. So his channel is Into Pickle on YouTube, and you can actually find that at YouTube. We Are Pickleball. That's his channel. He did a video last week about the transitioning from tennis to pickleball and some of the mistakes that tennis players make. And they're mistakes because the equipment is different. Tennis racket to a pickleball paddle, very different. The stroke itself, sometimes players assume that just because you came from another racket sport, there is an inherent advantage. And I guess I would say this, it helps. I mean, the hand-eye coordination certainly helps. But in tennis, you kind of windshield wiper shots. So as you come through, you windshield wiper them, and you tend to have a pretty large swing. And he talks about that, but he also talks about some other things and some mistakes as a tennis player that even if you've been playing pickleball for a while, that you may not know that you are that you're doing. So if you didn't get a chance to check out that video, go ahead and take a look at that video. That went up last week, as I said, on the on the We Are Pickleball channel, Into Pickle on YouTube. All right. I'm just kind of flipping back and forth between Facebook, just kind of making sure if anyone has any questions, feel free to post your questions. Let's see, what else have we got coming your way? So we are in the middle, and we're in the middle of, as many of you know, we have a membership site, VI Pickleball. And we are in the process, Tony and me are in the process of transitioning that to, like, We Are Pickleball 2.0. It's got courses, and there's coaching and a community and all those sorts of things. And it's been going for about a year. We actually launched it last November. I think November 23rd was our first day. And so we're in the process of doing 2.0 version. Which is very exciting. And so one of the things that we're going to do as we launch that is we're going to do a series of webinars coming up right around December 1st. And one of the things I know we're going to be talking about is pop-ups. So you want to make sure that you stay tuned for that. And we haven't decided on the other topics, but what we're trying to do is take some of the things that you ask us the most, the questions, because we are really grateful. You send us a lot of questions. You email us, and you're always free to email us. We're fine with that. You can either email me or Tony at our first name, either CJ or Tony, at wearepickleball.com. You can always email us. You email us, you ask us the questions, and we love answering those questions and getting to the ones that not just that our members ask us, but that you ask us as well, to answer for you. So let's see, I'm going to go back over to YouTube. So stay stay in the loop on that, because last year when we launched it, the pop-ups video was really well received. I think that was one of our most popular, was truly one of the most popular subject, because people hate when they pop. I don't like, who likes a pop-up, right? No one likes a pop-up. Now there are reasons that pop-ups happen, and that there are things that we can control to do that. One thing that I want you to keep in mind is we don't have, you're going to make, I don't care how good you get, you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have some pop-ups. So part of that is be kind to yourself. When you make a pop-up, it's okay to be frustrated, but forgive yourself, because we're human beings. You're not going to win every match, as evidenced today. You know, I mean, one of the best players in the world, it's not going to win every single match, right? No matter how good you are. That's just too much to ask, because we're human beings and we're going to make some mistakes. So when you pop the ball up, be your best friend to yourself, but not only that, be a good friend to your partner. When your partner makes a mistake, make sure that you let them know it's okay. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm playing with a partner and that partner allows me to feel safe, to feel like it's okay to make mistakes, I play better. If I feel like I can't make any mistakes, I don't play as well. I get tight. And I know that. I mean, I instinctually know that. And I do some things to work on my mind and to get my mind from that place. And I can take my mind out of that place. One of the books, Tony, there's actually two mental books that Tony and I talk a lot about when we talk about the athleticism pillar, because the athleticism is not just your body, it's your body and your mind. So when Tony and I talk about the athleticism pillar, there's two books right now that we really like. We've worked, you know, for a year with Coach Peter Scales, and he has a mental and emotional training for tennis. Don't let the name tennis turn you off to the book. It's totally applicable to pickleball. Love that book. And the other one is an oldie but a goodie. It's Tim Galloway, and it's been around for a long time. I remember reading this book as a young golf pro, because it was one of the few books on um, on the inner game, and it was the inner game of tennis. And he wrote the inner game of tennis first, and then he eventually wrote the inner game of golf. But I remember reading the inner game of tennis because you know, really at that time sports psychology was just kind of a burgeoning field. And but so anyway, when we talk about the athleticism pillar, it's your mind and your body. And so I do have tools that I have developed over the years to help me to get in the right frame of mind and to get into the right place. However, when I have a partner who makes it easier to make mistakes, I play better. Because I don't have to worry about that part. I can kind of focus on some other things. So I think I just naturally play better. And I think at times we have I think at times we have this, we feel that we have this chemistry with people, and when we have that chemistry, I that's when I know I tend to play real well. And there's been times where I've met people at rec play, and it's like boom, instant chemistry, feels good, feels like I've been on the court with them forever. And then there are other times where I get on the court with somebody who I think it's going to be really fun, and it's maybe not such a great time. And I'm sure that happens to all of us. So when you pop up the ball and when you make mistakes, be easy on yourself and be easy on your partner. We had the Hackenbergs on the Pickleball Summit last year, and they talked about that. They talked about partner chemistry. And of course, they're married and they're super successful senior players. But one of the things that they always do is between points, they touch each other. And it's just the connection that they have to say, really, the person is more important than the pickleball game. And I think that's super important. Barry wants to know what I did. What was the one thing that got your mojo back? So if you're talking about how I felt and how content I felt on the court, it is not having to figure it out myself, is trusting someone else to take their instruction. As an athlete, I am used to motivating myself. I'm used to practicing. I'm used to working out. I'm used to doing all those things. I don't have a problem doing any of those things. But even though I'm a personal trainer, even though I'm a pickleball coach, even though I'm a professional skier, blah, 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 on and on, figuring it out for myself is tough for me. It's really hard for me. Even when I look up setting up a training regime and I want to get strong, I tend to do the same things. I tend to be blind to maybe where I'm weak. And so even when I train, I go to another trainer. When I ski, I work with other ski professionals. Same thing with golf. But in pickleball, like I said, I was trying to figure it out myself. And that was a real mental burden for me. And so once that mental burden was lifted, that's how I got my mojo back. And I think, even again, if that's not your story, that's fine. I think a lot of us will carry some mental burdens around pickleball that can make pickleball unfun. I'm going to share a story. I'm not going to share this person's name, but it's a friend of Tony's, and they had a conversation, and he was talking about how pickleball wasn't fun for him, and Tony recommended that he read Coach Pete's book, and he sent a email back, and he said he referenced a page and a paragraph and said, "Oh my God, that's me. That's why I'm not having fun at pickleball anymore. But my guess is you already knew that, and that's why you asked me to read the book." And this was a person who was a really avid player and really avid tournament player and was pretty burnt out on pickleball. So the big thing here is if you're burnt out on pickleball, why? What's going on? And truly only you can answer that question. And sometimes it might be involve, putting a little bit of pen to paper and seeing what it is. Again, if you've got any questions, please feel free to jump on or to ask. But in any event, I'm going to flip back over to Facebook one more time. Let's see if we got any questions over there. Hello, Carol. Carol joined us over there. I love that little dog. That dog is so cute. Absolutely cute. And back over to YouTube. So those are the big things that we have coming your way via Pickleball in We Are Pickleball during the next few months. So make sure that you're watching for the YouTube channel. If you want to stay in touch with everything we do, go over to wearepickleball.com. You're going to see a quiz on the first page. We're going to help you figure out a little bit more about some of the tools, give you some tools, figure out where you are on your learning journey, and then give you some tools to be able to advance. And we will be back here next Thursday. So that's next Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully you'll have both of us here next week. But hey, life happens. It's not that big of a deal. All right, I do not see any questions. Yes, Barry said we all have blind spots. Videos are a great reveal. Videos are a great reveal. Those can be very helping. If you're not using the best little device in your pocket, this is it. This was my coaching tip for the Pickleball Summit. I was just like, this is it. Turn the camera on, video yourself. In fact, that's what I did yesterday. I videoed myself. I went home and looked at it so that I can see and then start to feel exactly what I'm doing. So that is great advice, Barry. I think we got all the questions. Again, you'll find us over at wearepickleball.com if you want some information on the camps or want to get on the early notification list for Tampa, because we'll be opening those up on Sunday. Make sure you go to wearepickleball.com/camps. Click on the link, put in your name. Otherwise, YouTube podcast drops tomorrow. YouTube video drops on Saturday. And we will see you back here on Facebook and YouTube Live next Thursday, 4 Eastern, 7 Pacific. From both of us, have a great night.